equals MCU. And word in these internet streets. Ooh, we got some news today, and just something I'm going to add on that I just heard about, which is kind of figured, but not big news. But word in these internet streets, y'all. I'll just get to it. Okay, we'll start with the first bit of news here. Reportedly, Channing Tatum is in the hospital with the injury he sustained on the set of Avengers Doomsday. Now, this is coming from the direct MCU, which, fun fact, I almost worked for them when they first started up. So shout out to them. It was very, very close. And I had a little issue with doing PDF on my phone. Long story short, I was almost a writer for the direct. Shout out to them. Seeing where they have gone and where they have gotten to. Shout out to them. So this report is coming from them. Reportedly, Channing Tatum's Gambit, was injured during a stunt that was being performed on Avengers Doomsday, and he's just now having surgery on, I believe it was an injured shoulder. I don't know if he tore his rotator cuff or just his shoulder was out of socket. He did post a picture that they had on there, just talking about it. He also sustained other injuries too. I'm trying to remember what the article said. If anybody's interested in reading it, you can go to the direct and it has the details, because he did sustain other injuries other than the shoulder, but he got kind of banged up. So my first thought was, damn, Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom is really hurting people in real life. This mofo. So if you look at it, even in the media, like if you kind of look at it, it's kind of a war of words from the standpoint of we're really getting X-Men versus the Avengers, because reportedly Doom is getting the Avengers and the Fantastic Four on his side, and they all got to team up to fight the X-Men. And the X-Men, Ian McKellen let slip last week or earlier this week that he destroyed Jersey, as Magneto. So I'm not I'm not happy the fact that Channing Tatum is injured. I'm actually I like Channing Tatum. I'm actually very glad that he got a chance to play Gambit, because I think he did do a good job. And the fact that, bro, the fact that what's being reported between Alan Cummings saying that he was fighting Pedro Pascal, and Magneto's destroyed half of Jersey. Now Channing Tatum that got busted up on set. These mofos was fighting, figuratively. Or not, excuse me, not figuratively. Um, it's kind of weird, but it does intrigue me as to how epic this battle is going to be. And from the clues you can kind of get from the little teaser trailers, it does seem like all of the Avengers are going to team up, because the X-Men are the ones destroying universes somehow. So yeah, that was a bit of news. I was not. It shocked me. It kind of shocked me last night. Um, yeah. All right. So next bit of news, and this is something that did not shock me. So one of the writers from Hawkeye, I believe his last name is Guest. He talked about he worked on Wonder Man. He knew the Russo. He had a good working relationship with the Russos. So they kind of introduced him into the MCU. And his first thing he got to work on was Hawkeye. Okay. Now, he said they a week and a half before they started shooting Hawkeye, he had to rewrite the whole script. Whatever they had going into Hawkeye, they scrapped it. And this is one of those stories where you've heard stories about Marvel not having scripts and shooting and making it up as they go along, kind of thing. This kind of adds to the lore of that. And I think what you could take away from it is sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Because Hawkeye was not a bad, I just did my rankings on it. It's not one of the highest ones, but it's still enjoyable. And that's probably just because I enjoy all of the Marvel stuff that they do. Like I said, Secret Invasion is really the only one that I will not rewatch. And maybe one day I will. I mean, there was elements of that I liked for a minute, and then it just messed it up and made me mad. So that's kind of the reason why I don't. But it wasn't because it didn't pull me in. In order for me to get that mad, it has to pull you in. So Hawkeye, much maligned is the same thing. I actually think that he did a good job on Hawkeye, considering all things considered. I wish they would have did something different with Kingpin and Kate Bishop, but they were trying to go a different direction at the time. Whoop de woo, whatever. Um, so yeah, apparently he said he had a week and a half to write the script. He rewrote the script, gave it to the directors. I forget what their names were, and then he did punch ups or touch ups throughout the shooting process. Like it's almost like he gave him an outline and he wrote it, got it done, gave it to him, and then as they were shooting it, he was making adjustments, giving it to him. So um, I thought that was interesting, especially since I don't know if there will be a season two. I think that Jeremy Renner coming out and saying they wanted to pay him half, let you know that Disney was cutting back costs. So it was like, we're only going to do this show if we can do it for X amount of dollars. I'm sure Haley Steinfeld's price probably went up. I still think Marvel misuses a lot of their talent. And it's really more so in who they're casting the talent to be, which makes the Sadie Sink thing that much more interesting. Um, yeah, I don't want to say I'm glad we're not getting a season two, but at this point, if you're going to do something with Haley Steinfeld and Jeremy Renner, it probably should be a movie. And I heard a very interesting take. I can't remember where, but I heard a very interesting take that I wholeheartedly agree with, in the fact that Marvel should introduce their, not side characters, but their Disney Plus characters. They should be assisting roles in movies. So like I was saying before, like a Wonder Man, She-Hulk, people who have their own shows, like kind of like they did with Miss Marvel and the Marvels. That's how they should be treating all of their characters on Disney Plus. They should be in a supporting role in a movie, and then have their own shows and with their own story come out of that or into that, depending on how you want to do it. I think Miss Marvel was the best example of that, and I think the same would have to go for, if you're going to do Jeremy Renner and Kate Bishop, they need to. Here's the thing: they can't do Young Avengers on Disney Plus. They would have to call it Champions, and the reason why is because the Avengers IP is a movie IP. Even doing a Young Avengers or a West Coast Avengers damages the IP if those are only going to be TV shows on Disney Plus. So you have to call it something else. Now, what you could do is do a Young Avengers or a West Coast Avengers movie that goes along with, X, Y, and Z with what you're doing in the movies. If they were still doing 3 movies a year, at least. If you did a Young Avengers or West Coast Avengers, then you could kind of have a standalone story with those set of Avengers. Then if you wanted to do their own separate TV shows, you could. It's almost like you want to do a movie to bring in the biggest audience possible, and then try to translate that movie over to Disney Plus, which should be their business model. And which is, that's kind of what they're trying to do with Doomsday, but they should be doing that with all of their movies, not just with the Avengers movies. So it's like, let's make a really good movie and then take some of those characters or side characters. Because if Jeremy Renner was leading a West Coast Avengers team, and with him especially with him being an OG founding Avenger, he don't need no TV show. Kate Bishop, it's like you do West Coast Avengers. Jeremy Renner's putting together a new team on the West Coast, right? He's gonna include his wife, and I've said this before. He's gonna include his wife. And because of how the MCU set up, you're probably going to throw She-Hulk in there. You're going to throw Wonder Man in there. And you should have Ant-Man and the Wasp in there because they're out there. And then Shang-Chi. And then you could tell the story in the movie about them encountering Tigra. And, make it all fit. Or you could throw Vision and Scarlet Witch in there. And they would be on the team. Like, there's enough characters to do a West Coast Avengers movie. And then if you wanted to, you use Kate Bishop in that movie as a piece, and then show her and Kamala Khan setting up their own team. And then you can have that lead into a Young Avengers movie or a Champions TV series, however you wanted to play it. That's how I would do it personally. So yeah. So anyways, I mean, that was the news that, they said that they were going to, season 2 has been canceled. And, season 1, all things considered, I thought came out pretty good considering it was wrote a week before they shot it. Only other bit of news I wanted to share before I get out of here. And if anybody's in the chat, I thought I saw somebody pop up for a minute. Only other thing I just saw earlier this morning was that Joe Locke will be joining Paul Bettany in Vision Quest. I guess, I don't know if he's officially cast, if that was official news or what, but it makes sense. It's not really a surprise. I mean, if they're going to have his brother Tommy in it, he's the one looking for Tommy. At some point, they got to make that come to a head and play and, kind of pay off. So now is Catherine Hahn confirmed to be coming back as Agatha? They have to do something with these characters before too long. Like, we can't wait 10 years before every time we see a character, and then you wonder why your franchises aren't hitting. Because, and I guess it's easier to juggle 3 characters when you're only focused on Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor. And then when you get to be 50 characters, you can't focus on all of them every few years. But it's because you didn't do the model right. You should have picked 3 to do that with out of the new Avengers team and had it. I've been over this already, so yeah, whatever. All right. So we're almost in Doomsday. Doomsday is coming. The news is gonna still pour out. People are mad about not getting the Spider-Man brand new day trailer, as we are within that window to when usually Sony likes to blow their load. I don't know. They're doing something different now. We don't know. We gotta wait and see. So anyway, man, that's my time for today. That's all I wanted to share. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment down below your thoughts if you care either way, one way or another, on any of this information. And until next time,